Hey everyone, April Diamond here, and it's another live with April Diamond. And I am excited to have today my friend and amazing visual effects supervisor, Adam Howard, four-time Emmy award-winning visual effects supervisor. Say that 10 times. Okay. Adam has worked on some of the biggest movies that we've seen. Has a long history of having an eye in the camera and setting up the scene. And to be honest with you, being a visual effects supervisor has many different aspects to it. And I was reading up on some of them, and it's just like, it's a lot. It's a lot of things. So Adam's going to tell us about it, and I'm just waiting for him to come on and show you guys who he is and what he's done. But you can go to his, I think he has, let's see, his Instagram. I'd have to look at that. I think it's under Adam Howard Art, and then his other one, which he'll tell us what that is. And he's a really nice guy, and he is an amazing creative person, and he has done some incredible work. So I'm really appreciative that he's going to be here and let me interview him on Live with April Diamond. So I'm just waiting for him to come on to the live here. And I think probably all the movies that I saw that he's worked on, I think I like them all. But I'm going to be honest with you, I saw that he did one of the Twilight movies, and there's a picture in the promo that I posted on Instagram. So if you go to Instagram, my Instagram at April Diamond Music, you'll see, I think it's the second slide, is him directing Robert Pattinson. Is it Pattinson? Pattinson, who plays the vampire in Twilight. And I am such a teenager. Oops. Sorry, we're not answering the phone today. So, anyway, he's done quite a few amazing movies and that kind of thing. And so I'm really excited to have him. Okay, so let me double check and see where we're at. Just double checking to see if that link worked that I sent him. I'm on. Okay, I don't, let's see. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Today is like the crazy technical problems. I'm not sure why, but I'm waiting for Adam to get into the area where we can add him to the stream, but for some reason it's just not working. I'm not sure why. Let's see. All right. So anyway, Twilight is one of, like, that movie series. I read all the books. It took me, like, I think, I don't know, there's like, how many books are there? 4, 5, 6, 7 books. I read all of them because I'm such a teenager when it comes to that. I love Twilight, okay? I'm just a huge Twilight fan. And I also saw, let's see, he did a Star Wars movie. I didn't see Birdman. I thought that was really weird. Like, Birdman was it's a weird movie. But I think it got an Oscar. Or hi, Barbara. Hey, happy Friday. I think Birdman got an Oscar. Yeah, I think it did. I think it won an Oscar. And he won some Emmy Awards, I think, for his work on some of the Star Wars movies. One of the Star Wars movies, Star Trek, Voyager back in the day, one of the Mission Impossible movies. I mean, there's so many. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But again, I'm waiting for him to come on here, and I don't see him in there. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, it's working. All right, we are on. Okay, so you guys meet my friend Adam Howard, Visual Effects Supervisor. Okay, this guy's got a big job. And when he's standing at this camera and I'm setting up the scene, he's probably going to correct me from whatever I'm telling you. It's a lot. That's got to be a lot of pressure. Somebody told me, well, I'll let Adam describe it to you. But he's done some incredible movies. So, hey, Severa. So meet Adam Howard.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Adam. How are you? I am so sorry. We had just too many crazy technical problems today. I don't understand, but hey, we're here.
Hey,
how are you?
Doing, April? How you doing?
I'm great.
Very well.
The Wi-Fi. Good. Good. So you're on the East Coast right now?
It's 110, so it's pretty hot.
Yeah, it's hot here too. So I was looking at your IMDb.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Oh, okay, cool. So I was looking at your IMDb, and wow, I mean, years and years of some of the best, most incredible movies. I mean, I want to say congratulations on.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I've worked on a lot of pretty cool stuff.
Yes, and I mean, the list is long, really long. And so I know we're struggling with the Wi-Fi and such, but we'll get through it. So where did your journey start?
I started in Australia, where I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And I was born in Melbourne. And I started working at ABC Television in Melbourne after a brief stint working in print design. I qualified as I trained as a graphic designer and illustrator, and then moved into television working at ABC Studios in Melbourne, and was lucky enough that right as I was starting, the first digital tools were becoming available, and there were literally just a handful of these boxes in the world, maybe like 10 or so of these boxes in the world, and I was one of those artists. And it allowed us to do all the things that we were doing manually with pencils and paint and airbrushes and all those kind of manual tools. It allowed us to do some of that stuff digitally, and so I got in right at the ground level of that, and that was pretty exciting. And so we started using those tools to do animation and visual effects, things that the people who made the box didn't even really think that it could do, but we made it do it anyway. And yeah, that's where it started.
That's exciting. And so that brought you, I guess that brought you to America. So when did you make the leap over here to the States?
Yeah, I moved here in 1990, and I came with the kind of, when I think back to it now, it was a kind of ridiculous pipe dream. I wanted to work on Star Trek: The Next Generation because, of course, that was the biggest visual effects show in the world at the time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work on MacGyver just because I loved the show, and I wanted to work on Star Wars. Who doesn't? And so through various circumstances, I was lead animator. I did seasons 5, 6, and 7 of Next Generation, and then I did Star Trek Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and a couple of the movies. And Star Trek was very good. And then shortly after starting on Star Trek, I ended up working on MacGyver as well. And then a few years later, I was up at ILM as an artist up there, and I got to work on Star Wars. So I made the 3, which was great.
Wow. So you made all those movies, and then you made your way up to ILM, which, by the way, for people that don't know what ILM is, Industrial Light and Magic, it is Lucasfilm, and I have been there. I got to actually go tour that studio, so I saw all of the artists there at the time. That was like a good probably 4 years ago or something. I went with my friend Daniel, who was a 3D artist. But we got invited to go, and that's an incredible place. I mean, it's like the ultimate for people that are artists and do what you do, especially.
Yeah, it's absolutely the pinnacle of visual effects companies in the world. It's been around since Star Wars. George Lucas started it to make all the visual effects for Star Wars, and it's still kind of seen as the iconic kind of leader in visual effects.
Right.
They do some of the biggest and best movies, and it was a great experience to work there. I was there for about 4.5 years, and I went up to do one movie. I went up to work on Master and Commander for 4 weeks, and 4.5, nearly 5 years later, I did 17 movies. So, yeah, it was a good time.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. That's really amazing. What, I mean, I'm sure, I want to say what were your favorites, but I'm sure that you've had your favorites in every, situation, every group of people or that you work with and actors and that kind of thing. What were some of your favorites and things that?
Next Generation was really fun because it was just such a fantastic, iconic show. I also worked on The Simpsons. I worked on the opening title sequence of The Simpsons. So when Bart runs into the classroom and writes on the chalkboard each week, and it's a different thing each week, it was my handwriting for a few years. So that that was really fun. My favorite film experiences kind of varied. I loved Titanic because it was just such a massive project, and we got to do some really groundbreaking stuff that really not really been done that way ever before. And then on the other end of the spectrum in style of film, still one of my favorites of all time will be The Sandlot, because The Sandlot was just such a fun, sweet film.
Yeah, so many. We have a little bit of a Wi-Fi connection there we're working on, but The Sandlot that you're talking about, so many people refer to that that movie with, and I have other friends that I think have worked on that movie, or maybe it's just their favorite movie, but they really love it because I think it just kind of touches on other people's childhood. It's like that childhood, group of guys playing baseball in the backyard, and they're like forever friends and getting into adventures and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the beautiful thing about that film, I was reading a story about it recently, and they had the 25th anniversary just recently, which is
nice.
It seems extraordinary that it was that many years ago already. But the cast all got together, and they had, a lot of them hadn't seen each other since they made the movie, and they all got together and they thought, before we do this tour around the country, we're going to hang out over dinner one night and see if we all still get on well. And they said it was just like best friends all getting together again. And they had a riot, and they toured the whole country, and they did like special screenings all over the country. And it's just really nice to know that kind of camaraderie that happened in front of the lens also existed behind the lens, because David, the director, and I are still good friends, and it's a long time to be friends with people.
Yes, and
especially in a business where you work with people a lot, but then you don't see them again for years.
sure.
So the likelihood of staying friends is kind of slim, but we do that, and it's great.
Yeah, those are wonderful stories. But I think from some of my other friends that work in the industry, they tell me that when you have a group of people like that, and everybody loves the movie, they love the story that's being told. It's like that's kind of a bond and a group of people that you always sort of remember and you always stay connected to, because it's like you say that's a really cool story too, that they came together again. And it was probably it's like when you have friends and you haven't seen them forever, but when you get together, it's like time has not really passed.
Yeah, and I think that's the really nice thing, and certainly the crews that I've worked on, if we see each other on another set, or we just bump into each other in another city,
Yeah,
or wherever it is, you kind of have that kind of family feeling, and it's
sure.
really nice that continues. So it's one of the
Yes,
really nice things about the business.
that's really amazing. And you like describe to people, and there's so much more of those movies and things we can talk about, and I can talk about ILM and ask you more questions about that. But what does a visual effects supervisor do? My friend Daniel tells me that it's an extension of the director, that particular job, setting up the scenes and that kind of thing. What is it that you do when you go onto a movie set? That's okay. We are back, but we are having some internet problems here, but that's okay. Let me hang in here and see if we can get this back. Oh, shit. 1 second, you guys. Oh my goodness. What a weird day. I'm trying to keep this going here. Oh, sorry about that, you guys. Just having a little bit of internet issue, but we'll see if Adam comes back. If he doesn't, we'll definitely do it a different day. But from what I've been told, the visual effects supervisor is the guy that sets up the scene, looks through the camera, makes sure everything is looking right, that's telling the story in that particular scene the right way. So he has to position the actors, and he has to tell the lighting people what to do. He has to tell everybody on the set how to manage and position everything to set up the scene properly. So he's got a big job. All right, we're back. There we go.
All right. So the temperature here is so hot that my phone's overheating and freezing up. So sorry about that.
Oh, is that what's happening? Oh, it's okay.
Yes.
No, I totally understand. Yeah, it's hot today too. I've got the fan on right here. But what I was saying was, I think you have a huge responsibility in that you set up the scenes and that kind of thing. What does a visual effects supervisor do?
Well, visual effects, just as a basic concept, are things that are either impossible to shoot in front of a real camera, or they're exorbitantly expensive and impractical, or they're too dangerous to do it for real.
I see.
And so things like obvious things like flying a space shuttle to an asteroid, like we did in Armageddon. You use visual effects to do that. Sinking the Titanic, well, that already happened, so we had to do it again.
Sure.
And the huge team of people that worked on that under the leadership of Rob Legato as the lead supervisor on the film, that was an amazing project. But sometimes they're very simple things, like you get into editorial on a film, and the director decides, well, I don't like that sky. It'd be nice if we had better clouds in the sky. So you do sky replacement, or you do cleanup on faces to get rid of zits, or whatever. So sometimes they're very big, spectacular things that you're creating. Other times they're very small, sometimes almost imperceptible things to the audience, but important things for the director and the producers to get their story across. So that's what
interesting.
So
wow.
My job is to work with the director to help make those things happen.
I see. And so I saw in the picture, in the promo that I put up, it's you with Robert Pattinson.
Right.
And it's kind of like, I got the impression that you're standing behind him because you're sort of looking at the scene to see what it's supposed to look like. Do you do something in there to like position the camera or position the actors to get a certain look in a scene? Is that ever part of what you do?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what the shot is, you need to go in and work with the director of photography and the director, and it's always a huge collaboration making a movie. No one person ever makes a film, so it's always a collaboration, and so we're all putting in our own little bits of input. Everybody knows what the shot needs to look like, but then how we get there relies on the input of many people, and so the director has their vision, and the DP is going to get in and work out how he's going to, what lenses he's going to use and how he wants to frame it and how he wants to light it. And then visual effects has specific requirements that we need to make sure are met so that when we get into post-production, we can do the shot that they're requiring as well. So it's just a lot of kind of teamwork to make the shot happen.
Wow. And so for the people that are watching or will be watching this as the video goes out, you worked on, the list is long. So the Star Trek, I'll say Star Trek and Star Wars. So you worked on a movie in each of those categories. And you worked on
Star Trek. I worked on Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Voyager, and then I worked on Insurrection and First Contact, which were the two feature films of Star Trek that I worked on. And Star Trek Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. That was the third of the prequels.
Yes, the third Star Wars movie. Excellent. And you've worked on, the Birdman. I saw that you worked on Birdman, and that received an Oscar, I believe.
Yeah, it got the Academy Award for Best Picture. And it was an incredibly challenging film to put together. Working with Michael Keaton was a joy because he's just a lovely person to work with. But the actual technical side of it was very hard because the big secret at the time that it was being made and shortly after it was released was that the filmmakers wanted it to feel like the movie was one continuous shot without any cuts.
Yeah.
And so it's almost impossible to do that in reality. And so it was all a lot of different cuts, and then we blended them together. As the director called it, we stitched them together. And so it was working out all the logistics of how to frame shots. You'd have one shot that was shot on Monday, another shot that was shot on Saturday 2 weeks later. But in the cut, they had to feel like they were the same shot. And they were in, one was in Queens and one was in Manhattan. And, it was a lot of very complex lineup. But the visual effects crews that put it all together again in the end did a beautiful job.
That's amazing. Wow. That's incredible. Congratulations. Like, to be a visual effects supervisor on a movie that's received an Oscar for Best Picture, wow.
That was fun. I got
you won the Olympics.
Well, we don't get the award, but it's an incredible feeling to work on two films that have won Best Picture, that one and Titanic.
Yes.
And they're both kind of groundbreaking films in their own way. Yeah, just great experiences.
That's amazing. Wow. And let's see. And so what have you been doing? Like, you just went from movie to movie to movie. I saw you did Harry Potter too. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I saw you sitting in the dining room of the Harry Potter scene there. That's so great. We all want to go eat there, all of us.
I didn't work on the movies. I worked on I was visual effects supervisor for the theme park ride at Universal Studios.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And worked on that for about 2 years, and that was a great experience. And we got to go, a very small crew of us went from California to England, and we shot in the real sets with the real cast, which was great. And
Wow.
that was a great experience, because that, when you do a movie, when you do a TV show, you do an episode and it's on air for one episode and then it's gone.
Yeah.
It if it goes into reruns, then it will be seen again and
Yeah.
again. But initially, it's on once. When you do a movie, it's in a movie theater run for a while and then it's gone. When you do a theme park ride, they were saying when we were doing it, this has a projected shelf life of 35 years. So, you know, whether it lasts that long, who knows? But it's nice to think that it might.
Yeah.
You know, my first grandchild was just born last week, and
I saw that.
thought
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And the
That's
thought
amazing.
that she might be able to go and ride that and see that, you know, years after we did it, is a pretty cool experience.
Yes. And she's gonna, when she grows up, she's gonna watch these movies and say, "This is my grandpa that helped make these movies." Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
What do you think is next for you? I know it's hard for us all because we're all in lockdown, but what do you think will be next? What's your next big vision?
You know, I'm not sure. I don't really know what's going to be next, visual effects wise. As you say, the world is in a bit of flux right now with COVID-19,
Yeah.
and I think the one thing that is for certain is that the way we make films is going to change. The way that sets were and have been since the beginning of, you know, movie making, it's going to change. We can't have 100 people on the set anymore. We can't have people sharing tools anymore.
I see.
You know, the number of people and social distancing and all that kind of stuff is going to play a very big part in how filmmaking gets made and how TV shows get made, and it's only going to kind of evolve over time. I saw a post from a friend of mine the other day who's just going back to Bulgaria to work on a movie, and he was saying, "Yeah, it's going to be an interesting experience. I'll let you know how it goes."
Yeah.
So there are some countries that are starting to open up a little bit. There's really not a lot happening here at the moment, and just being very cautious, and rightfully so.
Yeah, we have to be careful, but somewhere the world has got to start getting back to business again. But you're right, there's a lot of things I think that will change now. You know, like you say, the lesser amount of people is definitely a factor for many businesses, but particularly movie making, you can have, how many people, like, what do you think is the most you've had on a set at one time with cast and crew? What do you think is the maximum that you've had?
Oh, you know, I've never really thought about that.
I mean, can it be hundreds of people, or?
Oh, it can be hundreds of people, yeah, because if you think of something like Seabiscuit, where we had the stadium where the horse race was happening, and there were maybe a couple of hundred extras in the shot, and then we added hundreds and hundreds more digital extras.
Right.
That's the thing where you end up having a lot of people on set.
Right.
I
love that movie.
Yeah, it's
Seabiscuit, the horse movie. It's such a great movie.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film. I think one of the things that they're talking about now is a lot more visual effects involvement in filmmaking, because things like crowds, there may be ways to have crowds and maintain social distancing, but it may have to be a thing where they're all added digitally, or where we shoot a lot more green screen and composite layers of people. That is part of the evolution of what everybody's trying to work out at the moment in how we make them. But shots can be as little as one person in a shot, and a few hundred in a shot, so it depends on the movie.
Yeah. Wow. So it's likely that, like you're saying, the visual effects are going to take over and make more of what, maybe take the place of those hundreds of people and create that effect that way.
They've been there, involved in that for a long time, and crowd replacement and like stadiums, for example, sports stadiums. have been digitally populated in visual effects for a long time.
Right.
But I think it's going to become, there's the possibility that it could become much more of the standard way of doing that, rather than relying on, if you think about the logistics of, say, 100 people as extras, every one of those people has to go through hair and makeup. Every one of those people has to go through wardrobe. And that's a lot of physical contact with people that they're trying to minimize. And so if you can make them digitally, then you don't have any of that. You've got a team of artists sitting at computers making them.
Right.
And incredibly talented artists too. I mean, one of the things that I have always tried to remind people of is that when people talk about stuff being CGI, there's kind of a like computer-generated imagery. That there's a thought sometimes from people that CGI is just generated in a computer and it's all very antiseptic and inhuman. And the reality is that CG is made by people and made by incredibly talented artists who work incredibly long hours to make things that look as good as they do. So however it all ends up evolving, there's still going to be a bunch of people sitting there making the shots.
Right. So people will create the shots with visual effects instead of being there in masses. Actually, one of my friends who just joined the stream, Daniel Lionart's there, he is one of those, he's a 3D artist, so he just worked on The Lion King, and he worked on a couple of other big things. And you might be seeing him in movies one day, right, Daniel? Meet Adam. I think your friend's on Facebook too. Yeah. But that's a very interesting point, and it's a very real thing. And so directors must be who have planned movies, and directors, so maybe you can answer this the best. Directors that have had movies that are maybe in the process of being shot or almost shot, maybe they would have to go back and rethink the way that they shoot it now, because maybe the cast can't be that big. So maybe they'll bring in artists, 3D artists like Daniel or other visual effects people to create these things.
I mean, that is definitely going to happen. And I'm sure there are a lot of movies out there that are being kind of reworked and retooled so that I know there are a lot of films out there that are being reworked and retooled so that they can work out a way to make them that is safe for everybody. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. It may not mean as much work for extras and group cast, but I guess the main cast will be there. But the extras
will be there. I think one of the problems, it's not a problem, but one of the challenges is going to be that the lead actors are going to they're probably going to spend a lot more time by themselves on green screens than they were used to spending it with other actors. And that's a really unfortunate downside of what's been happening. Hopefully, one day there'll be a way that we can go back to, old style filmmaking where, human interaction can be like full one-on-one interaction. But until that day comes, we'll rely on other tools.
Interesting. That's really interesting. So there's so many things I would like to talk to you about movie making, and I would like to actually bring some other artists on here and have you guys chat about your experiences in movie making, and maybe like Daniel and some other director friends of mine, and just, talk about, I think it's very interesting to people how much work goes into a scene or how much work goes into an entire movie. I've just learned from my people in the business, and like you, learning from you, that the things that we watch on the big screen in movies, we see a scene that goes by in a minute or 3 minutes or something, and it was a whole 6-month thing that happened to create that scene. And when you break that down and you find out just how many people worked on that, I mean, I think you learn to appreciate movie making and storytelling to another level when you realize just how much work it takes to create that.
Absolutely. I think people, now that there's all the behind the scenes stuff on DVDs and on streaming, people have become much more educated as to the process and the number of people who are involved. But until you're actually involved in it, it's very, very hard to comprehend the sheer numbers of people. And you can have thousands of people on a visual effects crew if the film's really big,
Right.
creating worlds. I mean, basically what we're doing when we're doing a big we're just going to create a world.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
If you start really thinking about it, I had this conversation with my mother a few years ago. She said to me, I know this is going to sound stupid, but I've known you your whole life. And I know kind of what it is that you do, but I really don't have any idea really what it is that you do.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, come with me. And so we walked out. I grabbed her by the hand, and we walked out the front door. And I said to her, okay, look at the house across the street. What do you see? And she said, the name of the people's house. And I said, okay, but what do you see? And she's an artist, so she started breaking it down. She said, well, I see the house and I see the trees. And I said, okay, now in the trees, what do you see? And I said, well, branches and okay, go deeper. I said, leaves. And then you think about, I said to her, okay, now go down to the gutter in front of the house. It's a concrete gutter and it's got texture and it's got stains and it's got water running down it, and there's a crinkled up cigarette lighter and a cigarette wrapper in there, and the water running over that, and the sun's refracting through. All of that stuff has to be created one piece at a time. And so if you think about one artist doing one frame of a painting with all of that, it takes a long time for one artist to do one frame. If you think about 24 frames a second, or even more now, 48 frames, 120 frames a second, that's thousands of artists in hundreds of thousands of artist hours to make all of that stuff as a moving picture.
Wow. That's a lot. That's insane. You take a picture and you just take a picture, but to create the picture, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. If you think of it as a blank canvas and you got to create the whole world, it takes time.
That's amazing. Well, I don't want to keep you. I know that you have a time limit today, and I really appreciate your time. But and today we had some technical issues, but I figured it out. So I'm still working, figuring out how this all works here, but I think I've got it going on. But I would love to have you back to talk with some other artists and talk about the movie experience and movie making and that kind of thing. It's very fascinating to me, and I know a lot of people, with the people that I interview, tell me, you have such interesting people on there that are so good at what they do. We'd like to hear more. So I definitely would like to have you on again.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks very much.
Thank you, and have a great day, and good luck in all of your efforts, and we'll chat.
Thanks, April. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, talk to you soon. Bye. So that is Adam Howard, and Adam is, that's just scratching the surface of everything that he's done, but he's incredibly talented and knowledgeable and kind of known as the master in his business. But he's a really good guy. And he was talking, the interesting thing that I got from that was he was talking about how that the future of filmmaking will change because of our current situation with COVID-19 and the concern for health and sickness and virus, that kind of thing. So the groups of people will be much smaller, and that will mean more visual effects people and special effects people creating things, creating whole scenes that people aren't there, and so movie making will definitely change. Anyway, I find that really interesting. I think it's fun, and so we'll have Adam back, and I'll bring on some of my other artist friends and movie maker friends, and we'll have a chat about how movies are actually made and just how much work it takes to make your favorite movie. So anyway, thanks for watching. This has been Live with April Diamond with my special guest, Adam Howard. And take a look. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's other videos here. There's my videos of my latest single. There's videos here from 30 Days of April, which is my little reality show that I do every year. So thank you guys so much, and have a great day. And we will see you again on Sunday, because I'm going to do a Sunday fun day here, special 1 p.m. on Sunday. So I will see you guys then. Have a great day. Cheers.